Well, when we realized that it was quite well received, it was pretty much like a no-brainer. Like, hey, it's possible for me to write a second book, because I remember that when I was writing the first one, I had extra stories that I was trying to squeeze in, but I also wanted to keep it down to about 100 chapters. So I said, okay, if this book is actually making us money, why not put out a second one? And I realized that there were many things that I didn't talk about, with like things that pertain to the relationship I had with my dad. That was there were just stuff I left out in the first book, that I thought I could fill in the second book.
Okay.
So that's why I wrote it. Definitely, because initially when we started this, we didn't think that, for me, it would be a win to just finish selling the first 3,000 copies. In fact, a win for me would be just to see my book in the bookstore. I didn't think that it would be a bestseller. When we had the book launch dinner, it's just between me and a couple of close friends. One of them jokingly said, "May this be a bestseller," And face value, I didn't know what kind of product I had. I just thought that I just wrote whatever I wanted to write, because I self-publish. I didn't need to follow any guidelines. So it was literally just my life story, unedited. I just left it out there, and I was really shocked that it was even what it is today. I am not actually. I actually don't drink any coffee, and I don't rely on anything caffeinated to wake up. But it's not that I don't drink coffee. It's just that there's no need for me to want to drink coffee. But if I had to drink coffee, it would be like a frappuccino or something sweet, like something girly. I just start and let it go. There's no, because I don't sketch on the cups. The draw of it is actually that it is spontaneous, and if I made a mistake, that's it. Even if you plan it out on paper, and when you're actually putting it on canvas, it's very different. So the draw, the uniqueness of the cups is because I do it freehand, and it's a one shot deal thing. I think I just when I was young, I just naturally liked to do it. My first influences were my dad's workers, because we used to, before we went into the whole bird business, my dad dealt with jewelry. He was a goldsmith, so he had many apprentices, and sometimes they would draw, like when we were watching TV at night. I would bug them to draw me Ultraman, and I still remember how the Ultraman was drawn. So there's this guy that he's not so much an artist. He's just the he could draw the best within the group. It was like a group of maybe 10 apprentices that my dad had. So I would always bug him for it. And I always thought that he was the best artist ever, And then after a while, he got kind of tired of me asking him to draw Ultraman. So I had to pick it up on my own, So I guess that he was my biggest influence at first. And then as time went, when I grew older, Keith Haring was another guy that I looked up to, and he was introduced to me by my uncle who worked in advertising. Pretty much, I think my uncle influenced me a lot, because he was the artistic guy in the family. My mom had artistic traits too, but it was not as strong as my uncle. Like most of the jewelry design that my dad made were drawings from my mom. So my mom did the design, my dad did the forging. Okay. I love drawing. Women would be amazing to draw, but there's really no preference. Like if I were to choose between storytelling and like a quick sketch with an idea on it versus like a complete drawing, right? I would choose storytelling, or like something with a pun to it, or a little bit more substance than just a really good sketch. I hate drawing cars, buildings, and like anything that is static and mechanical. Oh, mechanical isn't so bad, like steampunk kind of deal. or something that's more organic. But if it's very industrial, I'm not good at it.
You like the natural sort of stuff, I suppose.
Yeah. Which is why like when it came to like drawing a car in my blog, it was just me behind the steering wheel with like a rear view mirror and then another seat. I don't draw the entire car, because I hated drawing cars. There's very little portrayal of my friends, so they don't get to say much of that. The ones I write about probably hasn't read the book.
Okay.
But I think because it's so centered around growing up and the people that were around me when I was growing up was mostly my parents. My dad doesn't really care because he doesn't read English and he doesn't know what I wrote. My mom always says that I embarrass her, but she likes it. So she's probably a masochist. I mean, I tell her, like sometimes she really comes in and she tells me, you shouldn't write this, you shouldn't write that, and I just tell her, you should just write your own book. So she doesn't really have much say, but I do take into account when because I push the envelope a lot all the time, and when she tells me something that is a concern, I do take her suggestion into the picture, and if I still feel after a day or two of thinking that it's okay to write it, then I will write it. Actually, there isn't. I think that the reason the book appeals to people, and I'm not sure if this is even right, is that I write about everything, like some stuff that I think this is probably not even worth writing, I write it anyway because you never know who would actually relate to it, and I think it's actually, for me, it's more of a surprise when they come back to me and they tell me that this chapter that I totally didn't think would relate to anyone, or that's not worth writing. When they come back to me and they say that I really like this story, I'm usually the one that's surprised, Not really. I don't think you can read the things as a standalone. I know stories that I was very emotionally attached to, like Black, which is my grandma passing away. It was actually really, really hard for me to write that one. Or anything to do with how I became what I am. I think that there's one story where I kind of blame my dad for how I am short-tempered. I mean, it's easy. Of course, no one's listening to his side of the story, But these are things that I think shape me, and I think that it's got something to do with how I was raised, So going back to the question, I think the ones that shape me personally are the ones that I am more attached to. If it's just an experience, it really doesn't hit me as hard as things that shape me into what I am today.
I see. Wow, that is quite interesting. Okay, yes. Then, you're very familiar with the comic and the cartoon medium. Basically, you draw a lot of cartoons and all that sort of thing. Do you think there is like a benefit to the cartoon form that other forms of storytelling and so forth, that it's not the same, that sort of thing?
Of course. I think that when you read a book, and I don't read a book much, so maybe I'm just talking out my ass. But when you read something, if you have pictures, sometimes a picture can capture words better than you trying to think about how to write it how to put it in a beautiful sentence. Like I think sometimes the absence of word captures the feeling more so than trying to describe it. So I like a mix of two. A lot of people sometimes they feel like every panel needs a picture or every panel needs words, but I think sometimes the lack of both could actually be very powerful. It's just an empty panel. I would tell him like, it's okay, you are not going to be so fat later on. Actually, you may need to eat a lot, and if you fail math, it's okay.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Because when I was a kid and I failed math, I really thought it was the end of the world. I really did. And the teachers didn't help because they made me feel like it was the end of the world. And then facing my dad too didn't help. Like the education system back then was really flawed. I mean, looking back now, it's funny to look at it, but a lot of the memories that I had were actually traumatic events. Like it's that's what I'm supposed to do as a comedian. I'm supposed to make light of it, but at that time when I was facing it, it wasn't as funny. it was terrible, you know.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad things are slightly better
Mm-hmm,
now and all that.
I'm still an artist though, so things didn't really become very much better.
Still, yeah. Okay, and then I have to ask this question because I'm kind of a Blizzard fanboy basically. But you used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. That's like, I think, a dream job for a lot of people. How was that like?
It was good. I think that company has a lot of things in the right place, but I think it's also starting to turn really corporate, you know, and it's not an environment that I think would be suitable for people like me.
Oh, okay. I see. Worked on Diablo 2 or
Diablo 2, the expansion, and Diablo 3.
Ah, I see. Did you play those games?
I haven't played Diablo 3 like since its release. Like I worked a lot on Diablo 3. I haven't gotten time to play it.
Oh wow, okay. What character did you play in Diablo 2?
In Diablo 2, I played the sorceress the most.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I was more of a barbarian kind of guy.
Yeah, but at the very start, like player killing was rampant, and the sorceress was very strong. You know, so that's what I used.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
Yeah. Ice orb all the way.
Ah, that's the way. Hated those, but yeah. Okay, just one or two more questions. Okay, so if there were to be a movie about your life, who would you like to play you?
John Bon Jovi.
Oh, seriously? Why?
Why not? Because he's hot.
Okay.
No, I actually wrote about this, and I don't know. It would just be ridiculous for John Bon Jovi to just play me, you know.
Yeah, I look forward to watching that.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I never thought that far, but if a movie was to be made about me, then it either should be me acting in it, but I can't act. I mean, to even get that far, you know, if there was going to be a movie made about me, then I think career-wise I'm in a pretty good position.
Okay.
You know,
yeah.
I never thought that far yet.
Okay, yeah.
But jokingly, I was just saying, you know, Bon Jovi.
That's a good choice.
Yeah,
I think it's a great choice.
Actually, it would be great if Morgan Freeman played me. Yeah, that would be really funny.
Yeah,
you know, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, it would be like a documentary with penguins.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that they should be able to part with their work. You know, a lot of artists are starving artists because they are too attached to their work. You know, and they don't think about the business aspect of things. You know, so most people leave art school kind of happy. You know, and it's very common for someone to start drawing darker and darker stuff because of their mood. You know, if they're not really making much of money and all that stuff, because artists don't have the business mindset. You know, I think that they have to kind of break out of it a little and say that it's not a lot. When I was in art school, they tell me like, don't work for Disney, you're selling out, or don't start selling your designs to this company and that company because you are selling out. You know, don't go for the big corporations. But if you don't do that, how are you going to survive? You know, so a lot of people think that it's bad to sell out, but I think you have to sell out in the sense that you have to be able to part with your art. You know, this is part of survival. You know,
basically be practical.
be practical, but of course you have more morals. You know, and say I don't support this cause, I don't support that cause, but you have to support something. You know, or you have to be able to part with your work. You know, you have to have that business mindset. Like, you have to run art like a business. You know, I didn't think so when I first came, when I was writing the book, but when I was talking to schools, you know, I realized that a lot of the students are starting to take up art and all that stuff. So if they are doing that at such a young age, then I think that the mindset, it has to be from their parents, you know, agreeing to it. So I think it's slowly changing, but it could be expedited.